The Rumney Marsh is a coastal saltwater marsh that fills over 2,000 acres of land, just north of Boston, and hosts hundreds of different species, ranging from green crabs to waterfowls. In the United States, marshes are found most commonly along coastlines in the east, stretching down from Maine all the way to Florida. Globally, marshes are found on every continent except for Antarctica. Generally speaking, marshlands, like the Rumney Marsh and the one we visited on Plum Island, have historically been misunderstood by people and given the negative connotations of being breeding grounds for mosquitoes and disease. On the contrary, marshlands have proven to be very productive and efficient environments for organisms that live in them, as well as neighboring towns. Marshes provide habitat for many organisms, from invertebrates like mollusks, to fish, to birds like the waterfowl. They are natural filters, removing toxins and pollutants from the water and releasing nutrients for filter feeders like mollusks and oysters to consume. Marshes are also great at trapping and storing carbon. In fact, each acre of salt marsh can sequester nearly 2,000 pounds of carbon, which is the equivalent of the amount emitted by a car that's driven over 10,000 miles.
There are many factors contributing to the global decline of marshes, like rising sea levels and human development. But one of the most anomalous causes is the invasion of Phragmites. Phragmites are a tall wetland grass species capable of growing up to 18 feet tall that pose problems to humans, animals, and marshes alike. They present fire dangers to nearby residents, as they are extremely flammable. They compete, win, and block out native salt marsh vegetation while providing little food or shelter, if any at all. And they destroy the intertidal habitats and feeding grounds of invertebrates, fish, and birds. To stop the growth of Phragmites in marshlands, landowners, conservation groups, and municipals must come together to remove fill material dumped on the wetlands, treat and remove Phragmites, remove undersized culverts and other tidal restrictions, and most importantly, they must come together to educate people on the importance of these restoration activities and why we need to salvage the marshlands that we have left. Home of the infamous Bay of Fundy, Maine has been speculated to be a mass generator of tidal energy with qualities such as high current speeds and water depth, adequate sea/riverbed conditions, and close proximity to a grid connection. Maine has massive potential to develop tidal energy. In 2016, the Ocean Renewable Power Company received a preliminary permit for tidal project to be conducted in Maine. The project involved 15 hydroelectric tidal devices that could potentially contribute to an estimated average annual generation of 2.6 to 3.5 gigawatts. To put things into perspective, 1 gigawatt of power can provide enough energy for nearly 700,000 homes each year. In 2017, this project received additional funding as it showed progress in operating successfully as a sustainable source of energy. ORPC's current goal for this new system will be to quantify thresholds and monitor approaches for next-generation tidal systems.
The harbor was used as a waste bin. This is what a senior resident of Boston told the Boston Globe in an article written earlier this year. For years, people thought of the ocean as an endless bucket that could consume an infinite amount of waste with no problem, but it became clear that this wasn't the case when people came across human waste and fish with tumors being washed up by the waters. The Deer Island Sewage Treatment Plant was first constructed in the late 1800s and has since expanded to the $3.8 billion program/facility it is today. The plant now serves over 2 million people and is capable of removing 95% of bacteria from the sewage it treats through its multiple layers of treatment. Deer Island Sewage Treatment Plant is the second largest of its kind in the country, capable of going through 1.3 billion gallons of sewage each day. In just 20 years, Deer Island and the people that came together to support and operate the sewage treatment program have been able to turn Boston Harbor from the dirtiest harbor in America to the great American jewel.
Very, very rocky shore in Boston.